So the whole trajectory changes of a human being. So everything, like you said, I'm just suggesting the same point, that there's actually nothing bad in the world. There's nothing dark in the world. It's just another shade of light.
Welcome to the Better Man Podcast with Ivan and Sumed. This podcast is all about how to be an optimal, conscious male in today's society. Join Ivan and Sumed as they go deep into the rabbit hole of personal growth, mindset, social dynamics, and spirituality. Are you ready to be a better man?
And we are live.
What's up, y'all? Everybody, welcome to the Better Man Podcast with Ivan Sumed. I'm Ivan.
And I'm Sumed. How you guys doing? We have a very special guest with us today, Arpan.
Yeah. Hi everyone.
Yeah, it's cool, bro. Today we're talking about how to master your dark side. Now, this episode is not for bitches. I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about bitches. All right. Now, the dark side is a very powerful tool. So quit jerking off with your dark side, all right? That's all I gotta say. Somebody's gonna kill the affirmations today.
All right, the affirmations of the day today are: I am worthy of my internal surroundings.
I am worthy of my internal surroundings.
I am always growing in a positive direction.
I am always growing in a positive direction.
I am darkness, I am light, I am everything.
I am darkness. I am light. I am everything.
All right.
It's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. Bro, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself just so the audience, you know, give us the highlights. Don't tell us the bad shit.
My name is Arpan. I'm a music producer, a profession, a painter, and a very dedicated student for clinical psychology and cognitive science. I'm hoping to write a PhD in the near future, and I'm here. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
So if you notice from the very beginning, right, this is a very dark man. He said, painter, producer, artist, right, performer. I don't think you said performer. I'm going to include it now, right, because he was a big performer. This is dark energy. And tell me, is it bad?
It's balance.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad to do that. You know?
The thing is that all of these skills are, you know, they have both sides to them, good and bad, both. And let's say bright and dark, or light and dark. You know, the emphasis of light is an internal, you know, reflection of the perception of the art. You know, when I perceive a certain emotion from my heart or from my consciousness, and that reflects darkness, the art becomes dark. And dark is not necessarily bad. There is incredible amount of intensity in darkness. In fact, the entire universe is more dark than illuminated object.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is what balances
You know,
energy.
I think that something that people need to get clear on is the difference between dark and light energy, between positive and negative energy, and good and bad energy. Because these are all fucking different, right? Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But we associate bad, dark, and evil.
Yeah.
Right? We associate darkness with evil, but no. It's just, and we associate negative with bad.
Yeah, even in like the things like, Star Wars, for instance, they say it's the dark side is the bad side or whatever, right? It's not necessarily the bad side, it's just the two sides of the same coin, right? So you could say that the dark side is also trying to accomplish something that the Jedis are also trying to accomplish something. But, there needs to be that opposing principle because we wouldn't know what light is without darkness.
Well, it wouldn't fucking exist. You'd be blind. You would be blind. If all you saw was white, you would be blind. If all you saw was black, just picture yourself only seeing that. You'd be blind.
How I perceive it is, every the concept of dark is basically, it's like a color concept, right? And a color could have various shades, and it could be a brighter shade of the same color and a darker shade of the same color.
50 Shades of Yin and Yang.
So
This episode's called.
So the dark is equally as important as the light. It has a extremely intense role to play, in the palette. And every color will have various shades, and one color in a monochromatic fundamental would be very useful if all of these shades in one color are prominent. One could just use like a purple, for example, in his palette, but could create various shades of purple in light and dark. That could make an entire painting.
You actually just explained that this concept that I've thought about was that everything in this world is just positive.
Absolutely.
Even the things that we will classify as negative, it's only negative considering what? It's negative considering the positive. So the light, only light exists. Darkness, in a way, is illusory. Absolutely. Right? Because you cannot shine a flashlight of darkness. Right? You can only dim the flashlight into different levels of darkness. Right? So it's all coming from one. So like you said, it's just purple. We could just say, for this example, it's just purple. But then there's like a light purple, and it goes all the way to the dark purple. Right? But it's still purple. So it's still just the light.
It's you could correlate this with, like, many times in our lives we think that bad things are happening to us, and then some times pass by and we look back at those situations and we understand that whatever happened was just for the best. And we can understand the lesson or the reason of those occurrences in our lives, which make us feel temporarily, well, hell, why is it happening to me? And we have really dark energies attached to it at that particular moment, but years pass by. And then realize that if I wouldn't have arrived at that situation, my destiny wouldn't have shaped a certain way.
Yeah.
So the whole trajectory changes of a human being. So everything, like you said, I'm just suggesting the same point, that there's actually nothing bad. There's nothing dark in the world. It's just another shade of light.
Facts.
Yeah, every level has every level has a new devil. So every time that you evolve, or every time that you go through something, there's a new aspect that you have to overcome or go through in order to reach that moment of fully understanding what is darkness within me. When you understand your shadow self, it's essentially the part of you that has not been validated yet. It's the side that you push away, or you don't show others, or you repress, because you feel like that's the most comfortable and polite thing to do.
Just to be clear for the audience members, he's now talking about your shadow side, not your dark side, but your shadow side. Your shadow side, we refer to it as the things that you hide from others and that you hide even from yourself.
True. Absolutely.
You were saying, bro, you were elaborating.
So yeah, in terms of the dark side or the shadow side in this particular case, when you recognize your shadow, you understand that there are different aspects of you that you haven't confronted yet. So they could be different fragmented personalities that you don't want to show the world. And you could take this personality test called the Enneagram test.
Spell it out.
It's I don't know, ENNAE gram, I think,
Okay.
something along those lines. And when I found out that my shadow side was the individualist and the philosopher and the investigator. So this is the type of person who like observes the world and just like critically analyzes it, and, thinks about life a lot.
Yeah.
And, like, thinks he's different from everybody else. That shadow side of me was reflected through doing the Enneagram.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys want to take that personality test, it might help you to also explore your shadow self.
Yeah, very similar to this. There is something called a Johari window. In the Johari window, there are 4 sections. The first section talks about, the image or the impression of me that I have of myself and you know about me. And the second one talks about the impression of me that I have but you don't know about me. And there's a third one that is an impression of me that you know about me and I don't know about myself. Right? And there is a fourth window which talks about the impression of me that I don't know about myself and you don't know about me too. So there are 4 dimensions. Right? That's the Johari window. Very similar to what he's saying. The shadow side, the various layers of our subconscious experience, our personalities.
So it's like a quadrant.
Yeah, it's a quadrant.
And I think the side that not even you or someone outside of you can see. The only way to see that would be from somebody else who is much higher thinking and vibrating. You could say only they could see. Honestly, only they could see.
Yeah, someone's like frequency should be like really resonating at a very, very high frequency. It's only then a person is able to see a dimension of of another individual. I think that's what a high consciousness is about. That's what all the practicing monks are working for in the world.
Towards what specifically? Towards what? What are they working towards?
See, they're working for the prana. Okay, in India, most dedicated spirituality practitioners are trying to increase the energy of the prana. The word that goes for prana in the Southeast Asia is called the chi.
Yeah,
the chi,
life force energy. Yeah.
Exactly, the chi. So that's what we call as prana. Or what we call it here, like prana in Sanskrit means life, the life energy.
Life force energy.
Life force energy, exactly. So,
do you know if there's a word for it in US, like or is there not?
There's
not sure.
probably no direct translation, bro. Yeah.
I
mean, life force energy is probably the
I
closest thing you can say.
life force energy. In fact, there's a lot of I didn't know that all these concepts are so elaborated now in the US and people are actually studying and trying to figure out stuff in the global way. But coming back to the point, like the prana energy, everything's breath. The essence of life is just breath. It's the inhaling and exhaling of breath and controlling of breath.
Is the pranayama.
Yeah, the pranayama. But very, very importantly, like I was told in my gurukul that the reason why a turtle lives for so long, for more than 250 years, is because it breathes very slow. And the reason why a dog dies in 12 or 18 years time or 15 years time is because it breathes very fast. Right.
Yeah.
So the metabolism, the BMR, the body, it's all controlled by how much breathing. Because
the heart rate.
The heart rate. And also you look at the situation, like no human being is actually consciously breathing. When they're awake, they're not breathing. But the moment they go to sleep, there's a rhythm in the breathing. And when we wake up, it's just an unconscious behavior. We're not and then surviving. We're surviving. No, that's not how the body works. The body knows. The body is a filter. It knows what it needs to do on its own. You know? And I believe fundamentally that we could probably control every cell in our body with our mind, every organ in our body.
It's very likely. It's
like how Wim Hof does it as well. He can control his nervous system like in cold water.
See, in our mythology, you know, they're like legends who have increased the size of their body by their will and decreased the size of their body like an atom by their will. All right? You find monks in Tibet and in Ladakh
that disappear into light.
That's a different zone. Yeah, but something that you can see with your eyes. It's like in a terrain at like minus 50 degrees, there is a monk without clothes.
Yeah.
And he's able to regulate the temperature of his body by his breathing. He's able to dive inside ice lakes, like ice water lakes, and come out of there without being affected from it. He's able to hold his breath for more than 45 to 15 minutes. It's humanly impossible. How is he training himself? That's it. Some part of it is it's just his mind, you know, control, and the other part of it is, you know, accessing a dimension of consciousness, you know, which is enabling a person to function biologically, physiologically in a different way. People are able to walk all these mountains.
To know that you can. You know what I mean? Because you could, but if you think that you can't, then you won't.
You're blocking off all possible.
Like in the short video I recently edited, I'm gonna publish it soon. I said if you grab a hammer and you believe it doesn't work, you're gonna find that you're gonna use it and it's not gonna work for you, right? But if you believe it works, you're gonna use it until you figure out how to actually make it work.
Absolutely. And about, you know, like teleporting and accessing, you know, dimensional shifts, it's all a part of our mythology.
Oh, dude, I just thought, ooh, bro. So your shadow self doesn't just contain your trauma. It also contains your potential. Your limitless potential is also hidden in your shadow self. Because sometimes you don't see it.
Because it makes it holistic, right?
Yeah, man, it's very true. You don't see it. Sometimes we don't see our potential until like a personal trainer like pushes us to run more, right? Or
lift that extra weight that you don't think you ever do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, inside the gym. So all of that is in the brain. Like gym workout is purely mental.
Totally. Facts.
You know, so I figured, I mean, like, you know, when I started working out, like, you know, I was not able to do 5 push-ups at one go.
Really?
In one go, like for the first time.
Wow.
How many? I just started like some nights back, but then I reached.
Just say you were 6. Just say you were 6, bro.
But after a period of time, what I'm trying to say is after a period of 3 months or 4 months, I was able to do 50 in a go, right? So it's the same person. What has changed? It's just the practice. It's just that continuity of practice that changes or enables. If I'm starting something today, like playing the guitar, you know, I'm expected to, you know, mess it up. But if I am playing for a couple of years, I'm expected to play flawlessly.
Right. And people think that practice makes perfect, but it's actually practice makes predictable.
Absolutely.
So when you keep practicing, you can kind of predict what's going to happen after a while. You can see the patterns emerging.
Bro, I just saw that shit on some kind of motivational poster.
This is a motivational podcast. What can I say?
And there's one of those bears with the white spots on their face.
Panda.
They're pandas, and they're like holding on to like the bamboo chairs and shit. They're like hanging. They're like.
Practice makes predictable.
The Shaolin is not predictable, man.
The
like,
what?
The Shaolin. Like if you look at the institution of the Shaolin in China, they're probably the most hardwired samurais and commandos in the world.
The higher dimension.
It
functions in the unknown.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And they are the ones who are actually bringing harmony and balance and peace all simultaneously in one one human body. I mean, the things that if they're able to achieve some of it is just impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have they done?
It's physiologically, they will take a huge piece of blade and the blade will not penetrate the human body.
What?
They would hit this.
Yo, they're knocking on the door. Check. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
bro.
Let me just show you some videos. I mean, they're doing things that's humanly impossible. They're doing things that are humanly impossible, and they're doing it from age like of 5 and 6.
Dude,
And they're training for 25 years, and they're becoming so credible. I mean, come on, you got to check them out hitting bricks on their own balls. And they're not breaking the balls, they're breaking the bloody bricks. It's crazy, man.
I wonder, like, what their balls feel like. Like, are they really hard?
They don't feel anymore.
I know, but what are the? Do the balls get hard, or do they feel like squishy? It's still.
Just don't feel anymore.
Do you think they feel like mango inside of like a Ziploc bag?
This
is
guy,
crazy.
we went to watch The Joker, right? And he told me to take a mango in a Ziploc bag,
And he put it in his
and I
pocket.
put it in my jacket pocket, and there was like the squishy kind of unreasonably like off-putting like thing, right?
Yeah.
And he takes it out in the movie. I was like, "Hey, bro, you want some?"
You know,
Absolutely not.
Everyone was like, man, the thing that's bad. It was good as mango. I know it felt like I'm squishing somebody's kidneys in my hand or something, but like it still tastes pretty good.
It's still a fruit, right?
Going back to the teleporting.
Teleporting.
Yeah, teleporting. Like
Sheldon's teleport.
accessing the wormholes that exist in the Earth atmosphere, but we can't see them. See, the legends say that there is one particular character in Hindu legends called, his name is Narada. All right. So what Narada does is he's a multiverse traveling entity. He would be traveling a particular universe and take some part of knowledge, some information from some god, and he will take that information and give it to another god, and create a mismatch in the harmony.
Fucking Rick and Morty, bro.
Yeah, literally. He's a conspiracy maker.
He's great.
Yeah. So he has this incredible role in the legend, like where he'll just be basically backbiting about one and to the other. All right, but that's a legend in itself, because that in itself gives the lesson, because that's how the history of the mythologies been created, and they've been created for a purpose. All right. So this guy comes into the earth and visits all the sages and the monks and the kings and give them information. But what's peculiar is that he would teleport himself and appear anywhere at any time. And he's mortal, and like in the legend, he's saying that he could be a god, but a demigod. You know what I mean? Someone who's just below, but he's always traveling, and he's carrying a musical instrument with him. So musical instrument has a really, like the string theory. That is the theory. The resonating string theory.
That's how
Guitar string theory.
So when you look at the guitar string, buzz, that's pretty much the essence of the universe. You've got to look at it very carefully, and that's exactly how the universe is expanding, like waveform. Yeah, and I believe I really look at the property of sonoricity, like the property of metal ringing, or an alloy ringing. That creates the resonant frequencies, basically. That's how it is. Teleporting is something really impressive.
And isn't there like a word of like Yogananda and people
Yeah.
like this being seen in multiple places at once?
Yeah, of course.
Right?
It's just like cut paste in your computer.
cut paste, Photoshop it in real life.
Yeah.
Photoshop yourself.
Seriously.
It's wonderful.
Damn. All right, I'm gonna try to get to that level of fucking thing, bro. I want to levitate shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, you can do that with sound. And that's pretty.
Yeah, I've seen that. We were looking at a video where they're fucking with sound and they're levitating the water and then it's like moving in.
Look, there's a festival in Tibet where there are 100 horn players, Tibetan horn players.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they put them in a geometrical order. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, and that is a very precise calculation of maths.
Yeah.
And they will put themselves together and they'll put a huge stone in front
Yeah.
and they'll blow their horns and the rock will be lifted.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
Stuff like
When
that.
is this? When is this?
It's a festival in Tibet. I mean,
When? You know?
yeah, I think this is during like in the month of like before Tibet gets like really cold, you know. So in the terrains, it should be somewhere like before the fall. Before the fall, yeah, sometimes round.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or probably like somewhere in April because nothing happens in these terrains in the winters. Like if you even go to Ladakh and you see what a real terrain is supposed to be, desert terrain is supposed to be. There's no water. There's no amenities to survive. So it's kind of difficult there. Like, and that's how, and it's difficult, and that's where the mystics are.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the true mystics are. I think that's the only place in the entire world which they haven't commercialized. They won't let you enter. They won't let you do anything.
Tibet. Shit.
Yeah, I mean,
No wonder China has control of it.
yeah, they just think they do, but they actually don't. Yeah, because even the Chinese find it hard to go there, and I mean, there's nothing. I mean, what do you want to get back from bunch of lamas from? I mean, there's a saying that in the land of lama, don't be a gama. You know who's gama? He's a wrestler.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be a wrestler in the land of a lama because you won't be able to conquer them. It's mountains, man. You can't climb. You cannot. If you're thirsty, you just won't survive. So that's why they say don't be a gama in the land of the lama.
Totally.
Yeah. Just be humble. Just be humble.
Sit down.
Yeah, humble in front of the mountain. You're bigger than me. You'll always be bigger than me. I'm just so small in front of the whole cosmos. If you have that kind of a mindset, you probably will survive there. Because you would need help for everything, even for breathing.
It would be difficult.
Very difficult. You're the highest altitude in the world. And you're bleeding from your ears and from your nose, and you're taking for 3 days you have to stabilize your oxygen level in your body.
Shit.
Yeah, so it's hard to be there. The best stuff in the world is at difficult places. You don't get like cool stuff easy. Yeah, it comes with a lot of hard work and sacrifice.
God damn, bro. I'm gonna have to go to bed. But you see, even how China thinks they control Tibet, that's the same way that people think that they have control over themselves, right? Aren't we controlled like by 60% of our genes? Our genes dictate 60% of like our personality and self, and then.
No, I was just studying the theories of personality of types and traits. It's genetic. It's environmental. It's also cultural. It's also society. And there is also a big role of the endocrine. Without the endocrine, I mean, like human beings think, "Hey, I'm just depressed." I said, "Bro, work out. You need some dopamine in your head. Hormones. Yeah, just need some hormones. Yeah. All of the stuff that people just think that they're feeling is just chemical imbalance. It's not really there. There's nothing called negative thinking. It's just chemical imbalance. That's all that it is. And if you're able to see it like that, then you understand the physiological part of your body, and then you can start treating it. And not medicine.
Eating,
of course,
exercising,
exactly,
doing shit like that.
Exactly,
bro. I feel like that's the way to cure depression.
Absolutely, depression is just the absence of dopamine in it. It's as simple as you gotta run, you gotta get the adrenaline functioning, you gotta get the serotonin in your body.
Serotonin.
Yeah, you gotta get these hormones flowing in your body, and you gotta keep at it. And then you feel good. I mean, like why? I mean, like the whole concept of kindness, of giving someone something, it just boosts serotonin in the human body, and that's why people go places and they give, because right after that they feel good.
So you mentioned blue zones earlier today.
Yeah.
And blue zones are actually in those places where the researchers found is that people are moving every 20 minutes. Like every 20 minutes, they're being by force by the life there. They're moving, right? But in the society we live in now, we're sitting down most of the time.
True.
Right? And that has really negatively affected us.
Absolutely.
Right? Let's just say low
vibration.
Like in
Low
Okinawa and Japan and these places, right? They have a lot of society around them. mind. There are people there. There's a lot of like things happening. And so I think that energy becomes almost like a collective consciousness of people like supporting each other. So I find that depression and things like that is like, you know, the Latin word is deprimir, which means to push something down, right? So opposite that is expression, to push it out. So when you're expressing yourself with your friends and you're like not holding anything inside you anymore, you're freely able to tell everyone what you're going through, and you're like, you have these Socratic seminars with people, you know, and you're able to just like share, to speak up, and give voice to your voicelessness. That's powerful.
Like the other day, after I got off a call with my girlfriend, and then I don't know, I think I was upset about some shit, right? And you were like, and you asked me, and the moment I had resistance to saying it, right? I was like, I don't know. And then whenever I notice that I have resistance, I'm like, oh, fuck, should I have resistance? Like, and it makes me think like, it's dumb that you have resistance, right? Like, and then in that moment, I feel almost embarrassed for having the resistance, because I'm like, it's actually, I'm going to sound fucking stupid if I say it, right? And then when you're thinking like that, you're actually, in a way, limiting yourself, right? From actually letting it go, right? Because now you've made the assessment that I'm going to be, look, in a
it's
particular
like pulling
way.
back a slingshot and keeping it there. You're not doing anything.
There's all this tension
but
there.
there's all this tension here, right?
Totally.
You're not being able to pull back the slingshot ever. You're just pulling it. You're just holding it.
And then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna release it. And I just said it and I let it go. And I felt so much better afterwards. Like, I just felt like I thought more rationally I became.
And it's crazy how the mind and body works together. You know, a lot of people feel like they're carrying other people's burdens, and so do they feel pain on their shoulders. Right?
Yeah.
Or it can physiologically take so
And
many different
that's the whole
shapes.
concept of it.
That's why a lot of people who slouch,
Psychosomatic
Psychosomatic.
disorder exists.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what it is. I mean, like, you know, there's theory, you know, that pneumonia is a psychosomatic disease.
Well,
You can attract bacteria.
Totally.
You know, just invite them. Hey, come, mess my body up.
Even getting glasses.
Yeah.
Right. In the book Letting Go by David R. Hawkins, right, he was giving a speech to his students. But then one of his students was like, well, what about your glasses, sir? Like, could you cure that just by letting it go? And he was like, shit, I guess so. Right? So he said, so from that moment, he took out his glasses and he didn't put them back on, but all he could see was like barely anything, like a few inches in front of him. Right? But over time, he just developed the ability to regain sight again, right? Just by, in a way, training his eyes and believing that it could happen and continuously letting it go.
Dr. Joe Dispenza, I mean, he was like a paraplegic. He was.
Whoa!
That's how he cured himself.
Really,
His
bro?
own mind. That's why so many people look up to his stuff, because he's been able to do it with himself. Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, he was like in some kind of injury towards his whole spinal cord or something, messed it up.
Whoa.
But then he imagined each vertebrae healing by itself. Had some kind of a self-talk mechanism where he was able to heal himself.
Could he still talk though?
I'm not very sure.
Because I have heard of people who were like complete vegetables, but they could still think and they could hear their family talking shit about them while they're like on the bed or whatever and pushing them around. And eventually this guy, you know, knowing what I know now, he had a strong third eye, right? Because your third eye is your ability to imagine, right? And you can imagine it, you're creating it just by sheer imagination. That's why earlier today, when your dad said the heart chakra is green or something like that, and then I said, well, it's actually in multiple colors, but we use the color green just because it helps us visualize it and imagine it. So if you're able to imagine that there's a green ball here and it's spinning, then you're able to feel it because you imagined it, right? We can only create in the world what we thought about first. It always begins in a thought. It doesn't begin anywhere else but a thought. and then it becomes real. Nobody just didn't fucking like cough out an airplane.
Then it becomes a thought form. And then other people also latch onto the similar thought.
Mm.
Right? That's how movement or something starts.
Yeah, I was thinking the same shit right now, bro. Yeah. Fucking collective consciousness tapped into it right now.
The quantum field. All right.
We're going to take a break right now. We're going to go and have our tea time. But we will be back and you won't even notice it because we're not going to put like anything in between. You know what? We probably will put some shit in between. Anyway, peace out. Be the best. Forget the rest.
May the flow be with you guys. Take it easy. Hey there, guys. Welcome back. How you guys doing?
What's up?
Yeah. So we're back here today talking a little bit about the shadow. We're headed to an inner engineering event.
Motherfucker Sadhguru.
Yeah.
You heard him? Look him up. He more famous than you and all your family. It's true. It is true. It is true.
Yeah. So anyway.
Everyone's like, damn, why you start attacking me like that? You just come back from halftime and he's coming very aggressive.
So yeah, basically basically what we wanted to talk to you guys about is that the idea and concept of darkness that is shared throughout society is not always the best way of describing it, because one person's initial thoughts towards what they consider to be dark thoughts, not dark thoughts, don't get any ideas, but I mean like thoughts in the mind, right? That
Lift it up. Also, guys, we gotta put the computer somewhere higher.
So dark thoughts. So when someone has a dark thought individually from their own subjective experience, it's different dark to what another person considers as dark or shadow. So that's important to note. It's also important to note that neediness is also part of darkness, if you think about it. Because
it's a part of less light.
Yeah,
would be the most accurate way of describing it. Because darkness does not exist. As we mentioned, I have to repeat it.
Right. If you try and
only light exists.
If you try and chase your shadow, you'll never catch it. But if you turn around from your shadow and start walking backwards, it starts to follow you. Similarly in life, when you start chasing something, like you start chasing a girl, you start chasing money, it's like sort of like, ew, bro, you know? But
I think we have to redescribe what the word chasing means, right? Right. Before you traumatize these people. Right, we're in this. We have in this slight chance that we're talking to them, we have the ability to control their minds.
Right. Trigger warning.
And in a way, that just means that we have the ability to bring you to higher states of consciousness. It's more controllable because it's smaller within the ways of thinking.
Right.
You know, like a doctor, he'll just see you and he's like, this. You won't know shit. You won't know shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So chasing in the sense of not reinforcing scarcity or lack. So essentially, yeah,
that's correct.
You don't want to like chase from a place of like, I don't have enough things, or this is not for me, whatever. So that puts out a desperate energy instead of an inspiring energy. And inspiring energy is very magnetic, and desperate energy is very repelling.
Because by having a desire, this is the funny thing, that we live in paradoxes. You are living in paradoxes. And a paradox is like, it's like a universe inside of a universe that's inside of a bigger universe. There's two universes inside of that universe. It's got like bipolar disorder. It's doing both at the same time, right? It's doing both at the same time. It's like walking and chewing. You're doing both at the same time. Look as fuck, right? As good as description, right?
Yeah. Doing both at the same time. So your left foot needs your right foot, just like the dark needs the light. Without its support and balance, you wouldn't get a momentum.
You wouldn't move.
Yeah.
You wouldn't fucking move. You wouldn't move. You got to move it, move it. You got to move it, move it. Da, 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 da. I said, oh, da, fantastic. Physically be. Oh, da, fantastic. Physically. You gotta meditate every day. You gotta focus on the possibility.
People are listening to this in their cars and they're like, what the heck's happening right now?
Yeah,
You know,
man,
is this like a ad break? Like, where they like,
yeah. I have to sing because it uses my throat chakra. That's a recommendation I told him was to sing.
just speaking opens up your throat chakra.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
if speaking
But yeah,
is
you're
walking,
right. It is,
singing is running.
should quote that down, bro. If speaking is walking, then singing is running.
If speaking is walking, then singing is running. And then what's flying? You know what's flying?
Chanting.
Silence. We talk every day. Right? Imagine what it would be like to not talk at all. To choose to not talk at all. Abstinence.
Absolutely.
In that moment, you are entering a dark side for somebody else. You are entering the dark side. Somebody else thinks it's the dark side. That thing that you're doing, that pain, or they see it as terrible, as bad, as painful, as scary.
Because when you learn how to suffer, you suffer much less.
Well, see, that is their projection of their fear. They think they can't do it.
Right.
They're really not saying you can't do it. They're just saying I can't do it.
If they're saying it's impossible,
God.
they're saying it's impossible for me. They're not saying it's impossible for you.
So in the show we're watching, Sense8, they literally the guys, the gay dudes, they get caught, right? And it shows on the projector of the screen, and the teacher, he's talking about
Like art and
of
love.
art. He's talking about art and shit, right? And then next thing you know, the projector gets hacked, and the screen goes up, and they see the professor naked, getting fucked by his girlfriend, right? And then this guy's like, "What is that? Looks like fucking dog shit porn."
Yeah,
And some shit like that, right?
something like that.
And then he said, well, it's not just shit packer porn. That's fucking hilarious. Shit packer porn. But anyway.
And then he sort of like, he owns it.
Yeah, he
Remember
totally
that?
he owns it. Right? But he says, it is not the just the beauty that is in the eye of the beholder. It is also the ugly. It is also the demonized. It is also the sexualized. It is also the whatever negative feelings you have about it. It's all in the eyes of the beholder. In the eyes of the beholder. In the eyes of the beholder. It's up to the person who's looking at it. It's up to the person who's looking at it. You get that?
So yeah, perception is actually a portal. So when you're perceiving something new, you step into a new gateway. You step into a new realm where you can see the world in a very different way. So when you change your perception, you change your perspectives, and each perspective that you take on is like a different portal. So let's say you see this same scenario happening right now, but from bird's eye view. Right, it would just give you a different perspective.
So
see the top
what Sumedh is trying to say is like, if I'm in, let's just say I'm in India, and I'm trying to get to USA by foot and swimming the rest of the way, that would take a really long time because that's by foot, right? Then you take in airplanes. Why are airplanes fast? Because they move at an angle and they cut it, right? Not just because they're fast, they're very fast as well. But they move up high, right? Let's just say from satellite. From a satellite, it's very easy to get from India to to USA. Very easy. It just goes, or it barely moves, right?
Yeah. So what are you comparing yourself to? That's the real thing. It's like, are you comparing yourself to all the people around you? Are you comparing yourself to the 5 closest people around you? Are you comparing yourself to the most successful people on the planet?
So like the 50 people, I believe, something like
Right.
that.
So it's really dependent also on like how are you comparing yourself towards your past self? Because all that is in your mind is your past. There's no such thing as a new mind. So, you're always kind of evolving and changing.
You're a camera that continues to record,
Yeah.
but it's also feeling the images that it's recording. So just imagine that this is a camera right here, right? And this is like a video of like a kid getting shot in the face, right? And this camera's recording it. These cameras are recording it, and you're feeling it all over your body. All over your body, you can feel what you are looking at. And that's what you are. So that's why when we watch the news and we do all that shit, gossip and all that bullshit, talking shit about ourselves and bullshit, getting angry, not letting go, resisting change, resisting differences, resisting opposite thinking. Let go of the resistance to it.
Yes.
Let go of the resistance. It's the easiest, simplest way to just let go. Don't hold on to it.
You sort of have to dance with it, You kind of have to just allow it.
You know what? What am I? Students was talking to me about. He said that he gives advice now to his friend, and he says that his friend was just thinking, just like him, right? Previously, but now because he's been working with me, he's evolved, right? And he tells his friend, "It's so simple, man. It's so simple. All you gotta do is do this, right? Because it's so true. All you gotta do is you go through this transition, this wall. There's a physical wall there. It's a real wall. It's not. They're not kidding you. We're continuously told that what we're feeling, believing, and thinking is incorrect. You're always being told that you're incorrect, but that's wrong. We have an intuition. We have an intuition because we have chakras. Through your third eye, it enters. Whether you are aware of your third eye or not, or if you work with your third eye or not, it's working. Like whether you know it is working, right? You can strengthen it, and that's when you become like psychic, right? Clairvoyant. These are just words that we use to describe.
We should describe this.
Yeah. Did you feel the third eye stuff?
Yeah, I did a third eye awakening type of meditation, which was quite interesting. I definitely
You gotta be louder, man.
I felt the ridges of my nose, as well as sort of a pulsating feeling up here on my forehead. And just being more aware of my forehead and my nose just has made my third eye more activated.
Your nose too.
Because
we went through the nose hairs and shit, right?
Yeah.
We went up to the nose hairs. We went layers. So as I was doing, I was like, let's go into the layers of the self, right? So sometimes we say, "Oh, bring the light to your face" or whatever, It is the going into the details of it that really,
right, yeah, when you got me to explore my brainstem, right, automatically my posture starts to change.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you become conscious of the unconscious, everything changes.
All right, guys. We just want to say we want to get going. We love you so much for coming and listening to us. That honestly, I look at the views, I go, and I'm like, damn, we're really doing it. We're really doing it. All of us together. If you are listening,
We're a team.
Exactly. We're a team. We're here to spread knowledge. We're here to get this and get it moving. Get it moving. Accept with our yang and give with our yin. With the light, give with the light. Take the darkness. Allow it to propel you. Yes, because darkness is also knowledge. Darkness is also knowledge, because where's knowledge? It's on paper, and it's in your head. Or is that really a physical thing, though?
So turn your material into ethereal, and
It's just paper with symbols on it. It's just paper with symbols on it.
and be able to understand that harmony is actually the norm. Harmony, balance, oneness,
Damn
love,
straight.
appreciation, gratitude, joy. That is the norm. That is what will always be.
Oh, I keep seeing 97.
Whatever will be. And so, if you guys want to get in touch with us, my Instagram is Flowzone Academy. That's FLOZONE Academy. What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is Ivan Alejandro Acosta. JK.
It's too long.
Odd, ODD, as in odd, as in different, and
As in
resilient.
the opposite of even.
And I put dot resilience. If you look up the what am I called? The original training personal innovation coach. Personal innovation coach. I just look at you and I analyze you. That's it. Because I'm a genius. I take different knowledges, I make them my own. But anyway, be the best, forget the rest. Our resilience.
May the flow be with you. Stay